The war in heaven. The war in heaven is one of the most profound and mysterious themes in spiritual and biblical thought. It is not merely a story of angels fighting in the skies. It is a revelation of the origin of evil, the meaning of obedience, the cost of rebellion, and the eternal victory of righteousness. This war explains why the world is filled with conflict, suffering, temptation, and spiritual struggle. It also reveals God's justice, holiness, and unfailing love, as well as the destiny of humanity. The war in heaven did not begin with weapons made of iron or fire, but with thoughts, pride, and a desire to rival the authority of God. It was a moral and spiritual conflict before it ever became a visible confrontation. Understanding this war helps believers recognize that life on earth is connected to a greater spiritual reality. Heaven before the war. Before the war, heaven was a place of perfect harmony, order, and joy. God reigned supreme as the creator and sustainer of all things. The angels were created as powerful, intelligent, and immortal beings whose purpose was to worship God, serve His will, and carry out His commands throughout the universe. Among these angels was Lucifer, whose name means light-bearer. He was described as beautiful, wise, and highly honored. He held a position close to God's throne and was admired by other angels. There was peace in heaven, and every created being lived in obedience and joy under God's authority. The rise of pride and rebellion. The war in heaven began when Lucifer allowed pride to enter his heart. Instead of remaining content with his position, he desired more power and honor. He wanted to be equal with God and eventually sought to exalt his throne above God's throne. Lucifer began to question God's authority, His laws, and His justice. He subtly spread doubt among the angels, suggesting that God was unfair and restrictive. His rebellion was not open at first. It was deceptive and persuasive. Many angels were confused by his arguments, while others remained loyal to God. This rebellion marked the first sin in the universe. It showed that even in a perfect environment, free will allow the possibility of disobedience. God did not force Lucifer to obey, because true love and loyalty cannot be compelled. The outbreak of war in heaven. The conflict eventually reached a point where peace could no longer be maintained. The Bible describes this moment symbolically as a war in heaven, where Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, identified as Satan and his angels. This war was not a physical struggle as humans understand it, but a clash of authority, truth, and allegiance. God's government was based on love, truth, and righteousness, while Satan's kingdom was built on lies, pride, and rebellion. The loyal angels stood firm in obedience to God, while the rebellious angels followed Satan. The outcome of the war was decisive. The defeat of the devil by angels is one of the most powerful and symbolic events in spiritual history. It represents the eternal victory of righteousness over rebellion, obedience over pride, and divine authority over corruption. This event, often described as the war in heaven, reveals the nature of God's justice, the loyalty of the angels, and the ultimate downfall of evil. Before his fall, the devil was known as Lucifer, a radiant and powerful angel created by God. He was filled with beauty, wisdom, and authority. Scripture describes him as an anointed cherub who walked in the presence of God. However, pride entered his heart. He desired to exalt himself above God, seeking worship that belonged only to the Creator. This Rebellion marked the beginning of evil. Lucifer convinced many angels to follow him, spreading lies, deception, and dissatisfaction. Heaven, a realm of peace and order, became the stage for a great conflict. This rebellion was not just a disagreement. It was a challenge to God's authority and truth. The rise of the faithful angels. God did not leave heaven in chaos. The loyal angels, led by Archangel Michael, stood firm in obedience. Michael, whose name means "who is like God," represented humility and submission to divine authority. He and his angels refused to bow to Lucifer's pride and lies. The faithful angels were not fighting for power or glory. They were fighting to uphold God's holiness, truth, and justice. Their strength did not come from themselves alone, but from God, who empowered them to stand against evil. The battle was fierce, not a physical war, as humans understand it, but a spiritual confrontation of authority, truth, and allegiance. Revelation 12:7-9 describes it clearly. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. Lucifer, now called Satan, and his angels fought desperately, but they were defeated. Evil cannot overcome holiness. Pride cannot overpower righteousness. Lies cannot stand against truth. When the angels overcame Satan, he was cast out of heaven. His fall was complete and final. He lost his position, his authority, and his place in God's presence. Along with him, the rebellious angels were expelled, becoming what are now known as demons. This defeat was not only a punishment, but a declaration. Rebellion against God always leads to downfall. Heaven was cleansed of corruption, and peace was restored. The meaning of the victory. The angel's victory over the devil teaches several profound lessons. God's authority is absolute. No created being, no matter how powerful, can overthrow God. Obedience leads to victory. The angels won because they remained faithful. Pride leads to destruction. Satan's fall began with pride and ended in defeat. Evil has limits, though not used. Honor. His final defeat is already assured. The throne of God stood at the center, surrounded by glory that words cannot fully describe. Angels, mighty and innumerable, moved in perfect alignment with the will of the Most High there. Voices rose continually in praise, declaring the holiness and supremacy of God. Among these angels was one of great beauty and authority. He was known for his brilliance and wisdom, adorned with splendor and entrusted with high responsibility. Yet within his heart, pride began to grow. He looked upon his own glory and desired honor that belonged only to the Creator. His thoughts turned from service to self, from worship to ambition. This rebellion did not remain hidden. Pride gave birth to defiance, and defiance led to open opposition against God's order. The once glorious angel gathered. Others, who allowed doubt and arrogance to take root in their hearts, they questioned God's authority and sought to exalt themselves above his throne. Then heaven trembled, not from fear, but from the unfolding of divine justice, and the faithful angels stood firm, not for personal glory, but to uphold the holiness of God. Their strength came not from anger, but from obedience. Their power was not their own, but flowed from the will of the Almighty. The battle was fierce, not chaotic, but decisive. Light clashed with darkness. Truth confronted lies. Loyalty confronted betrayal. The sound of the conflict echoed through the heavens like thunder. Yet every movement was under divine command. Heaven itself remained holy. for rebellion could not corrupt what God had established. The rebellious forces fought desperately, driven by pride and deception. But pride cannot stand against truth. Deception cannot overcome light. The authority of God was unshakable, and the outcome was never in doubt. At the appointed moment, judgment was executed. The rebel leader and his followers were cast out of heaven, stripped of their former glory. They fell like lightning, losing their place in the realm of light. Heaven rejoiced not in their fall, but in the victory of righteousness and the preservation of divine order. Yet, the battle did not end with their fall. The heavenly battle marked the beginning of a greater conflict that would touch the earth and humanity itself. The defeated enemy, filled with rage and bitterness, sought to oppose God's purpose in creation. Humanity would become the stage for choice between obedience, faith, and rebellion. Light and darkness is due. The victory in heaven stood as a testimony. Rebellion cannot overthrow God, and evil cannot triumph over truth. The heavenly battle reminds all creation that God's authority is eternal. His justice is perfect, and His light will always overcome darkness. No matter how fierce the conflict may appear, the outcome is secure. Victory belongs to God, and heaven remains a place of worship, peace,